Hello and welcome to Destination Dakar. In this programme we look at the vital work of the service crews. They represent one of the biggest differences between the leading professional teams and the amateurs who make up the bulk of the entry. Former DTM driver Ellen Lohr and her co-driver Antonio de Wassar will rely on a service team comprising a Unimog U400 entered in the race, so to help them on the stage if they have problems, and two other tracks travelling from bivouac to bivouac with the spare parts and the crew. The important thing about the service crew is that the trucks first arrive at the bivouac and then that they arrive in time and that everyone knows what they've got to do. The trucks have to make it through the day just like we do, and their tracks aren't that easy either. They have to go through the dunes and lots of other stuff as well. And in this area we've gained a lot of experience last year with our cars, which are on the Dakar for the first time. They all made it to Dakar last year, and I think we'll make it to Dakar this year as well. Well, I don't think I'm too worried about that, because in terms of the service we've prepared very well. It's so important that the trucks arrive on time every day, though. If Antonio and I get to the bivouac with the car and then have to wait because half the service people aren't there because they're struggling on the track, then that really would be a nightmare. So it means that the crew must be very reliable, both personally and, of course, mechanically. 'Volkswagen isn't the most experienced team, but probably with the biggest budgets. They have a very professional approach, and that's got to enhance their chances of winning the Dakar. One of the major aspects is the key role played by the service crews. Chris Nissan, the team director, explains how they try to keep everything under control and working logically.
We have 8 trucks going to the Dakar. The trucks are traveling every day to the next bivouac. The race cars are doing the states. And once the race car come in, we have an absolutely clear procedure. The race driver talks to the race engineer talks to the car chief talks to the mechanics, and we start to do the normal service. We start to do some repair if we need, and also we start to do the service. So in total, it is very hard, it's very difficult, and the logistic of this and the attitude, the spirit of the team is very, very important. It is impossible to do everything correct, but you must do it as close as possible to correct.
2007 will be a landstone event for Mitsubishi, the company entering its 25th Dakar. The most successful team of the past years counts its huge experience as its major strength. Team director explaining for every car there's a chief, a mechanic, an electrician, one guy for the bodywork, and a guy who looks after all the spares. So that's 5 people dedicated to each car, and in addition all the others help to complete the staff. Each evening we make a task list, and in addition to the comments of the crew if they have heard a noise or had an impact on the stage, each important component is lifed as well. If the part's broken we change it, but if it has to do a life of say 2,000 kilometers, we change it at that distance to be safe for the next stage. And often before the marathon stages, because we can't work on the cars for 2 days, we change other parts as well, just to make doubly sure that there are no unexpected failures. Jean-Louis Schlesser builds his cars at home in the south of France with his team of mechanics. There's no huge factory support behind him, but in the blue team, professionalism and a clear procedure rule at the bivouac. We have a mechanic working on the front of the car and a guy who works on the back. Then are those who drive the service vehicles, a guy responsible for the spares and so on. But they're very versatile. The guy who works on the front end can also fix the electrics. The guy who works at the back does a lot of the welding. There's a head mechanic as well who's responsible for the car, because it's important to hand out the jobs and to make sure that everything remains under control. Well, service at the bivouac is one thing, but sometimes drivers have to effect repairs on the car by themselves if they have a problem in the middle of the stage or during the night on the marathon stages. Vanessa Alataya, who'll do the Dakar for the third time with the BMW X-Ray team, that's not a major worry.
We are a professional driver. We must know about mechanics, and we learn a lot with the cars. And we have, like, before Dakars, for 2 weeks in workshop in German for study more. And for me, it's no problems.
Repairing the car is not, however, something that Stefan Peterhensel rests highly on his list of things that he likes to do. Yeah, I really don't like fixing cars, but we've got a good solution because my co-driver Jean-Paul Cottret was originally a mechanic. So when we have to work on the car in the marathon stages, usually it's not very complicated, so that works well. When he's repairing the car, I can prepare the road book and the maps. I used to have to do it for 10 years anyway when I was competing with the bike, so we share out the work well. I do what I like to do, and what I don't like to do, he covers that very well indeed.
Parce que je l'ai fait pendant plus de 10 ans en moto, et donc je sais préparer un roadbook et préparer des cartes, donc on est assez complémentaires. Ce que j'aime pas faire, lui il le fait très bien et ça se passe bien.
For amateurs, the Dakar is doubly hard. When they arrive late at a bivouac after a difficult day, the first thing they have to do is look after the machinery, even before themselves. In his first Dakar, Frenchman Fabrice Charon seems to have it perhaps a little easier.
At
the beginning, when I decided to do the Dakar, I was on my own, but I met Etienne Vuillet, who wanted to do the Dakar with both of his brothers. Then we met Philippe Meyer. He bought a truck that did the Dakar last year, and he offered to make it available to us. But to pay for the truck, we needed 8 or 10 riders, so we found some more friends, and now there are 9 of us being serviced from this truck.
Pour partir avec ce camion qui est derrière moi, quoi.
To get some spares, we bought a second bike and we've disassembled it, so at least we've got a spare engine, forks, shock absorbers and some of the other running gear parts that we might need. But as well as this truck, we've also paid Yamaha Assistance. They have their own truck and we can go there and buy parts that we might need, just like a shop in the middle of the desert.
Comme un magasin, des pièces détachées où on peut aller acheter nos pièces s'il nous en manque.
So even for those on a tight budget, assistance plays an important role, especially for the riders themselves. I get along really well with the other 8 guys who went to Tunisia to train for 10 days, and we laughed a lot. I'm sure that during the Dakar, some nights we'll be exhausted physically and mentally, and to come back to the bivouac with your friends to talk and maybe laugh, I think it's going to be so important for our morale.
Des bons coups de rigolade de soir ou vraiment une aide, ouais, une aide morale, je pense que c'est très très important.
Even for the top riders, boosting morale is very important. They often have a very close relationship with their mechanics, as they usually work very closely with just one, especially Isidre Esteve, whose mechanic Eric is not only a close friend but lives in the same village in Catalonia. When I get to the end of a special, he knows what's going on. He knows if the problem's with the bike or with the rider. So normally we just have a few minutes just to talk, not about the race, but just about how I feel, how things are going. And he's very good with reassuring me. He says, take it easy, stay calm. Tomorrow's going to be a good day for us and so on. And that little bit of help seems so minor, but in reality it's huge. It can make such a big difference. That's one of the most interesting parts of life on the Dakar, is the bond between the people.
hace marcar la diferencia, ¿no? Y bueno, yo pienso que son de esas cosas que son interesantes a la vida.
Well, the closeness is not just rider and mechanic. Between the riders themselves, too, there's a very strong bond. One particular aspect of the bike race is the role played by the water carrier for the leading riders in the factory teams. On the 2006 Dakar, David Castor was the water carrier for Esteve, and he played his role perfectly when Esteve crashed heavily on stage 9 and Castor saved his life. Well, our job's to support the leading rider. Last year, Cyril had Michel Gau, and I worked with Isidre. In fact, we try and stay with them as close as possible to be right by our guy throughout the race if we can. There to give him physical, technical and even moral support, and we carry the bags. If he's in trouble on the special, we try and help him. You know, we've done some training with the KTM factory to be able to take the bike's engine apart and put it back together again. So we know the bike very well, so that hopefully we'll be able to make repairs on the stage if the lead riders have a problem.
Pour démonter les moteurs, les remonter, démonter les pièces, on connaît très bien la moto.
But that's really just the technical side. For my first Dakar, it was very interesting. I wasn't under any pressure. I was just here to support him, and I am very proud of my first Dakar because I managed to complete my mission without any problems and helped him enormously. So that's for episode 4 of Destination Dakar. Don't miss us when we come out next time. Until then, here's a little taste of what's in store. For now, though, it's goodbye.